Hello friends, what is happiness? Have you ever thought of what is real happiness? Have you ever felt that kind of happiness which you experience continuously, that internal bliss, that peace, that joy, even if you have been going through the worst phase in your life, everything is going haywire and chaotic all around, still you are internally peaceful, joyful and blissful? Do you think that pursuit of material possessions give you that permanent kind of happiness, that permanent pleasure inside? I think once you acquire something which you dreamt of, or which you were like mad to acquire, it also loses its luster, it also loses its charm after a period of time. Similarly, if you overdo something or overindulge in certain activities, they also lose their importance, even if they were most important part of your life, or you were most delighted to indulge in those things. You are no more interested after some period of time. Why does it happen? I think it's just because of temporary nature of material possessions, material pursuits. If you really want to feel happy, I think you should focus on developing internal contentment rather than seeking it from outside world. And we are so engaged in materialistic world that we are unaware of the existence of internal world, our internal self. And once we connect with our internal self, internal world, and focus on internal satisfaction, we will feel real happiness. Real means complete in itself, and real happiness is something that gives you everlasting fulfillment, that effortless peace, bliss, and you don't have to depend upon external conditions or external stimuli for same. Even our nations, they play an important role in taking care of well-being or happiness of its people. Unfortunately, our country has adopted Western model of economic development. And if you look at Bhutan, it's the first nation which has taken initiative in this direction, and it has been using GDH, that is Gross Domestic Happiness Index, for the measurement of happiness and well-being of its population. And it's based on certain criteria, that it depends upon your psychological conditions, education, health, time you spent, and many other things. But at least it has taken initiative, and it gives more importance to happiness of its citizen than material pursuits. I hope India would also do something here. Many philosophers, psychologists, they have given different meanings, names to this feeling. Some call it self-awareness, some call it self-realization, connection to God, pure consciousness, many other meanings. And according to Bhagavad Gita, person who understands himself is truly happy, and he doesn't need to look to outside world for happiness, because he has discovered internal peace, bliss, and most importantly, real meaning of life. Till now, I might be sounding very, unreal and quite idealistic. But have you ever thought, again, have you ever thought what is preventing you from real happiness? Is it your pain? Is it your suffering? Or something else? That is your ego, that you don't want to be accountable for your karmas, and you don't want to learn lessons, and you are focusing, giving more importance to your pains, to your sufferings, rather than focusing on your karmas and recognizing temporary nature of the life. Someone has rightly said that happiness, what is happiness? Happiness is the acceptance. Acceptance is the key to happiness, that you should accept your pain, you should accept your sufferings. I know it's difficult, but you can practice, and slowly and steadily you will succeed. I know. And there is one more phrase, that happiness is the state of mind. And what is this state? How to achieve this state? What is state of mind which keeps you always happy? I can tell you one story which is just justifying this concept of happiness is the state of mind. It's given in Sai Satcharitra, and Sai Baba has beautifully explained this concept. Once Das Kanuji, author of Sai Satcharitra, was unable to comprehend some portion in Isha Upanishad, and so he went to Sai Baba for clarification, and Baba has explained it in very easy way through the maid servant. And I think that maid servant has naturally attained that state of happiness. She is naturally happy. And I think I should read out that portion from Sai Satcharitra in order to do justice to the version, author's version. So it's given in chapter number 20 of Sai Satcharitra, and here it goes. Sadguru only competent and qualified to explain. As we have seen, Isha Upanishad is the quintessence of the Vedas. It is the science of self-realization. It is the weapon which can rend asunder the bondage of life and death and make us free. Therefore, he thought that he who has himself attained self-realization can only give him the true or correct interpretation of the Upanishad. When nobody could satisfy Das Ganu, he resolved to consult Sai Baba about this. When he got an opportunity to go to Shirdi, he saw Sai Baba prostrated himself before. Whenever I read this, it's like as if I am in front of Baba in Shirdi. It's like reading the stories give you picturesque view of all what was, or I would say rather what is happening in front of you, as if you are sitting before Baba and enjoying his presence and his talks. When he got an opportunity to go to Shirdi, he saw Sai Baba prostrated himself before him and mentioned his difficulties about the Isha Upanishad and requested him to give the correct solution. Sai Baba blessed him and said, "You need not be anxious. There is no difficulty about the matter. The maid servant of Kaka will solve your doubts at Vilepale on your way to home." The people who were present then and heard this thought that Baba was joking and said, "How could an illiterate maid servant solve the difficulties of this nature?" But Das Ganu thought otherwise. He was sure that whatever Baba spoke must come true, as Baba's word was the decree of the Brahma, that is Almighty God. Kaka's maid servant, on fully believing in Baba's words, he left Shirdi and came to Videpali and stayed with Kaka Sahib Dikshit over there. There the next day, when Das Ganu was enjoying the morning nap, some say when he was engaged in worship, he heard a poor girl singing a beautiful song in clear and melodious tones. The subject matter of the song was a crimson colored sari. How nice it was, how fine was its embroidery, how beautiful were its ends and borders. Beautiful song she was enjoying, and she is always enjoying. I would say is, because I'm just feeling, I am feeling that she is in front of me when I read the story. He liked the song so much that he came out and saw that if it was sung by a young girl, the sister of Namya, who was a servant of Kaka Sahib. The girl was cleaning vessels and had only a torn rag on her person. On seeing her impoverished condition and her jovial temperament, Dasganu felt pity for her, and when Rao, 1 minute, somebody's at door, I am just coming. I don't remember exactly where I was, so I'll read again some portion. Dasganu felt pity for her, and when Rao Bahadur, M.V. Pradhan, next day gave him a pair of dhotars, he requested him to give a sari to the poor little girl. And he bought small sari and presented to her. Like a starving person getting luckily good dishes to eat, her joy knew no bounds. Next day she wore the new sari, and out of great joy and merriment whirled, danced round and played fugri with other girls and excelled them all. The day following she kept the new sari in her box at home and came with the old and torn rags, but she looked as merry as she did the previous day. On seeing this, Dasganu's pity was transferred into admiration. He thought that the girl, being poor, had to wear a torn rag. Someone again. Sorry for the disturbance. Someone was at door. So I think I'll have to read it, some portions. The day following, she kept the new sari in her box at home and came with the old and torn rags. But she looked as merry as she did the previous day. On seeing this, Dasganu's pity was transferred into admiration. He thought that the girl, being poor, had to wear a torn rag, but now she had a new sari which she kept in reserve, and putting on the old rag, strutted herself, showing no trace of sorrow or dejection. Thus he realized that all our feelings of pain and pleasure depend upon the attitude of our mind. On thinking deeply over this incident, he realized that a man ought to enjoy whatever God has bestowed on him in the firm conviction that he besets everything, that is, he is present in everything, from behind and before and on all sides, and that whatever is bestowed on him, that is whatever is given by God to us, must be for our good. In this particular case, the impoverished or poor condition of the poor girl, her torn rag and the new sari, the donor, the doni and the acceptance were all parts of the Lord and pervaded by him. Here Dasganu got a practical demonstration of the lesson of the Upanishad, the lesson of contentment, the lesson of contentment with one's own lot, in the belief that whatever happens is ordained by the God, it's the will of the God, and is ultimately good for us. That is the unique method of his teaching. I hope that I could able to make you understand little bit of my version, what I feel about happiness. And I know when you are powered by the feelings of sufferings and pain, it's difficult to understand such concepts. But still, if I could add little hope in your lives, or could able to give you some message, I would be more than happy. That will be real happiness for me. Thank you.